Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It is so nice. Even though I can't see you, I'm so happy to be here with all of you. My name is Jacob Padron. I'm the artistic director of Longwharf Theater, and on behalf of Kid Ingley, our managing director, and everyone on staff at Longwharf, welcome to our first event of One City, Many Stages, which is our new and improved season that we created in response to all that is happening in the world. We felt like this was an opportunity to show up for the community in hopefully a new and exciting way. One City, Many Stages is meant to be an emergent season. So what that means is that we want to be in relationship to the community in new ways. We want to respond to what's happening in the world around us, and we want to center resilience. We feel like with everything going on with civil unrest, with COVID-19, we want to be there for our neighbors. We want to be a better neighbor. And so it actually feels really appropriate to me that we launch our 2021 season with One City, Many Stages with the New Haven Play Project. I have some remarks that I'm going to share that I prepared. But before I read those, there's just a couple of kind of shout outs that I want to do, because putting on something like this, as you can imagine, really takes such a community. It takes so many people to make what you're about to see tonight, which is incredibly special, possible. So the first is I just want to shout out and give just such thanks to the staff of Longwharf Theater. I know that we have been through so many ups and downs as we try collectively to make sense of what is happening, to weather this storm together. And the fact that we've been able to create this video and to show up for our community in this way with the New Haven Play Project is really extraordinary. Maddie Ardito, our Director of Learning and Community Organizing, Cheyenne Barboza, Travis Carbonella, who did all of our film work. Just unbelievable. And I'm going to get to Cherie Salem a little bit later, who was our director of the film. But just thank you so much to the staff of Longwharf Theater, just incredible humans. I also want to thank our board of directors, who continue to support us, who continue to provide stewardship, who continue to just be a real partner in the work. They are making the path with us, and I'm just so deeply grateful to the board of directors for being on this journey with us. Thank you so, so much. I hope that tonight is a bit of a preview of kind of what's to come, this year. We have a lot in store. Some of it we know, some of it we don't. But like I said, One City, Many Stages gives us an opportunity to really be a partner and to really show up. And there are a couple of things that we hope you'll keep an eye out for, like our New Works Festival that will happen this winter. We're also going to be doing some site-specific work in and around the community. We just feel like, given all that is happening, rather than you come to Longwharf Theater, we're going to go to you. And that's how we are trying to kind of imagine the path forward. We have to sort of throw out the status quo, right? We have to reimagine what theater can do. We have to reimagine the power and the importance of storytelling. And I think that's the journey that we're on together. And I really, like I said, I really think that you're in for a treat. So now I'm going to move to the part where I'm going to read some remarks, and I hope it just provides more context. I also feel like I'd be remiss in not saying become a member. Many of you are members, but if you know friends and family who want to support Longwharf Theater, please let them know. Longwharftheater.org, where they can learn so much more about what we're trying to do with One City, Many Stages. It's our love letter to the community. It's our celebration of form by the community. So I just wanted to say that piece before I forgot, as I'm looking here at my cheat sheet of my notes. Okay, so now I'm going to read, friends. So we want to begin this evening acknowledging that in Connecticut, we gather on the traditional lands of the Quinnipiac, the Mohegan, the Pequot, and the Paugussett people. They are a part of our community. They were stewards of this land. So we always want to start our artistic practice with that acknowledgement. So we are so honored that you've chose to spend your evening with us tonight for the world premiere of the New Haven Play Project 2020. And as some of you know, the New Haven Play Project has been around for a couple of years. Love and shout out to Elizabeth Nearing, who really shepherded this project from the beginning. But this project is incredibly special because it means that we are making theater with the community. So this project, through the support of the Doris Duke Foundation for Islamic Art and the International Association of New Haven, uses art making to build bridges between Muslim and non-Muslim community members. While we hoped that we would be able to gather for live performance by now, we had to pivot because of everything that's happening with COVID-19. And so we wanted to turn this collaboration into a feature film that you'll be able to enjoy tonight. Okay, so under the innovative leadership of our film's director, Charisse M. Salem. And Charisse, oh my goodness, God bless you. Thank you so much for your leadership, for your artistry, for your talents, for your wisdom. So in partnership with Sanctuary Kitchen, Storytellers New Haven, the Muslim Coalition of Connecticut, a group of local artists and storytellers came together in a virtual space to share and interpret stories across cultures. Some of the stories that you'll see tonight will be shared directly by the storytellers, the ones who live these experiences as Muslim, immigrant, and refugee members of the New Haven community. Other stories will be shown to you by local artists who have worked in concert with the storytellers to develop an artistic interpretation of their story. These artists work closely with the storytellers to honor their lived experience and to create a beautiful artistic rendering, which you'll see tonight. So we really hope you will enjoy the show this evening. It runs approximately 50 minutes. Please plan to stick around for a talkback after the screening, where we'll be joined by the director and other members of the creative team. So thank you so much for being with us. Longworth Theater is your theater company. And we just are really happy to launch our 2021 season, our reimagined 2021 season with the New Haven Play Project, directed by Charisse Salem. Enjoy.
So after my visa interview at the American Embassy in Ankara, I was so happy. So I was granted the visa to be able to come to United States and start my postdoctoral fellowship.
Hey, Shan, so nice to see
Good to
you.
see you
Finally
in
in
person.
person.
Yeah.
Please come on in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is my dad. And this is my brother, my sister.
I mean, this is the coffee actually like very traditional, like Ottoman palace style, you know, the coffee serving set.
So I found an online teacher to teach me. So I was running. Actually, I was flying. So I just stepped in one of the first travel agencies I saw. So there was this man sitting behind a clutter desk and asked me, "So how can I help you?" I said, "Well, I want to fly to Houston, Texas." And he asked, like, "When would you like to fly?" "Well, anytime mid-month would be fine." So after only like few keyboard click away, he looked at me, "So 10th, 11th, or 12th?" And for a second I paused and I'm like, "Well, it doesn't really matter. So let's go with 11th." But the funny thing is, I would never imagine that a very momentarily decision, like very random, seemingly random decision would change entire discourse of my personal and professional life. So the flight would be around 11 hours. We were about like 3 hours shy from arriving JFK. Then there was an announcement. We were told that for some reason we wouldn't be able to land in JFK and we were rerouted to Canada. Didn't make much sense. But then only a few moments later, there was another announcement like, "We are going back to Europe." So finally, we arrived in Frankfurt Airport, not knowing what was going on, but obviously something was happening and people were so nervous. And about 300 passengers, not knowing or completely unaware of the catastrophe of 9/11. We entered the room one after another, and there were those big screen TVs on the walls, repeatedly showing the collapse of Twin Towers. And the passengers, like people around me, they started screaming, crying, and many of them actually literally collapsed on the floor. I don't think I've ever seen shock, like disbelief and fear and this rawness in my life. So that night they took us to an hotel only maybe 100 miles from Frankfurt Airport. After a very long night of uncertainty and not knowing what was actually happening, in the morning we gathered in the lobby of the hotel and we were told who was responsible, who took the responsibility for this horrible act. And we were given three choices. So we could return home we could wait, but indefinitely in Frankfurt until we actually have permission to fly to United States. And the third one is just don't decide anything, just, wait, and next day you can make the decision. And we were also given one phone call. So I called home. I talked to my mother. I said, Mom, I don't know what to do. I really want to go. I really want to do this. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I remember actually when they were making the announcement about like who took the responsibility for the event, there was one older Turkish woman in the crowd. And I saw her actually slowly sliding her headscarf down and kind of tying around her neck, because obviously she was scared. And then my mom said, Ayşe, don't worry. If God protected you here in your hometown, He will protect you wherever you go. Don't be afraid. This may sound like, like very simple sentence, but all of a sudden, everything changed. Everything changed. Like all this fear, all this worry, all this uncertainty, everything kind of lifted. And I was free. Like I could fly, I was free. And I decided, okay, I'm not going to go back. This is my journey. This is my destiny, and I will complete it. About 3 days later, I was finally able to make it to Houston, Texas, and I started my new life there. I was working in a laboratory where we explored the HIV, AIDS, and it was fascinating. It was like molecular virology, microbiology, gene therapy, and every day I was learning something new, and I was just ecstatic. Like I would work like 60, 65 hours per week. And beside work, any moment I found, I would study English. I was trying to learn all those like cultural nuances. And I was trying to learn how to express myself in a proper way so I would be understood properly. And also I could understand people around me. I mean, for instance, like just understanding the meaning of like interesting, the word interesting. I think it took me about 8 years that in English, interesting could mean so many different things. But then you learn not only like the nuances of words, but also nuances in people's behavior, in their faces, the way they walk, the way they welcome you. So when I realized actually how this initial fear and shock of 9/11 unfold in the lives of individuals and communities, I decided that I should do something about that. Because, I was in Houston only 2 years prior to that, and it was a different city. Now I was in the same city, buildings were same, people were same, grocery stores were same, but no, it wasn't the same anymore. So I decided to do something about that. And part of it was working with different faith communities in Houston. And I started volunteering with many different organizations working toward building bridges, like interfaith bridges, intercultural bridges. Also, like the bridges between different, like the socioeconomic level of people. I found this unique sense of like being so different, but so same at the same time. And then you realize it doesn't matter who you are, like how old you are, you can connect with anyone if you are really willing to do that. Another part was going to actually prisons and working with incarcerated women. And just seeing this, like when you approach people, so a beautiful community, beautiful friends. Actually, I like to call them family, like from all different ages, all different backgrounds, all different nationalities, religion, education level. I think I built a family in Houston. I built a home. Like it was kind of like brick by brick. I think I built a home in Houston, but with a courage, I guess. No, with a courage I borrowed from my mother. And this is my mom, of course. So these are my friends from here. So this is kind of like my place that I sit here and then I drink my tea and then I just look at them because it's impossible not to miss them. It's just, you just have to find a way that you are not there, but still there. I put photos everywhere. So that way, you know, when I wake up, when I sit down here, before I start studying or before I start my day, I look at them. Actually, this is my favorite photo. Actually. So this is my mother's birthday. Like last year, she was here during her birthday. So, and this is right here. So whenever, you know, I study something, like if I get frustrated, I look at the picture and I'm like, okay, just keep going. So at the end of 7 years, I was ready to move to New Haven, Connecticut for a different position. And the morning I was ready to leave, and the moment I was ready to turn on the engine to get on the road, I just felt exactly the same feeling that I felt when I left home to go to school first time, when I left Turkey to come to United States. Now, once again, I was leaving my home and I was leaving so many known feeling, no places, known people behind. And once again, I was embarking a new journey. But the best part of it is, it has been about 12 years since I moved to New Haven. And now this is my home. And now I have beautiful people here. And I bet if I am to leave once again, the same burning feeling in my heart will return. And I guess the word in Turkish we call gurbet, that is being away or being separated, falling apart from where you know, what you are familiar with, where you belong, and moving on. So this is my story of moving on one place to another, one gurbet to another. But I think I'm up for even more challenges.
My name is Claudette Beeman, and I was born in Jamaica. Growing up, everyone talked about wanting to come to America. It was the land of opportunity. The streets were lined with gold. Like hundreds of others, I dreamed about this. I wanted these opportunities. Despite the long wait, I was beyond ecstatic when I was told I would be coming to America. I could barely contain myself. My insides were bubbling over and I was jittery as we rode on Interstate 95 towards Bridgeport. I don't think I slept much that first night. When I looked outside that morning, I saw people walking around, all cloaked up, heads and faces covered. No one seemed to speak to or acknowledge each other. This unfriendly look was not only odd to me, but worrisome. Not to mention, it got dark before 5 p.m. So within 24 hours, some of the things I had envisioned in my head were proving not to be so. One of my goals for coming to America was to get an education. It was and is something that is very important in my family. So I had to figure out how to support myself and pay for college. During my undergraduate studies, there were times I worked 4 jobs at the same time, mopped and waxed floors, scrubbed toilets and kitchens, and I even had to learn to fight with the roaches in the filthy apartments, despite my fear and panic every time I saw them. The multiple jobs allowed me to complete my bachelor's degree in a timely manner. Years later, I went back to school for a master's degree, and a few years later, went back to school for my 6th-year degree. So while the streets were not lined with gold, and there is no glitz and glamour to my life, this country allowed me to live out my dreams, be self-supportive, and attain the things in life that are important to me. I am truly, truly grateful to be in America. Thank you.
We were just kids, no fear on the playground. Play around till sundown. Try hard not to make a sound so our parents don't find out. More fun when they don't know. Stovetop, tadpole, tadpole, yeah. Yeah. We were just kids, no fear on the playground. Play around till sundown. Try hard not to make a sound so our parents don't find out. More fun when they don't know. Stovetop, tadpole, tadpole, yeah. Hey kid chef, what's that you're cooking? I don't know. Just make sure dad isn't looking. When the rain falls, puddles the size of lakes, birds fly into sunshine rays. 5 years from now, we'll laugh at our mistakes. Until then, we're just stovetops at both. Stovetop tadpoles. Stovetop tadpoles.
It was around 2008. from my hometown, Port Elizabeth, Kwazakele Township, that I had a scare, the biggest scare of my life. The day after this event had occurred, we were supposed to put our grandfather to rest. So I was sleeping in the morning and sleeping in really. I was tired, exhausted with all the preparations and meeting different people, hosting, and just trying to stay strong. As I was sleeping, I heard sounds, voices. You know, when you're sleeping and you feel like, or you think you're dreaming, but then in actuality there's something happening right there and then. So I realized the voices that I was hearing, it was people that were in my house. And I walked out of the room. So as I am dazed and confused that my auntie is even more frantic. She has her hands on her head and she's running around up and down, screaming, crying, next to the room that was outside of the main house. I see my brother there, hanging. I quickly run towards him and I grab his legs and I lift him up as I'm screaming as well and yelling at everybody that's crying, because I just didn't understand at that point in time why was everybody crying and not helping, and asked them to bring a knife. Somebody, I can't remember who, cut the rope, and I can't be sure it was a rope or if it was a belt off, and we fell down. He was crying. I was crying, sorry and sad for him, and also feeling helpless that I am not going to be able to make his heart feel better. Not even his life. He had a rough life. He has a rough life. He will never know what living truthfully and to your best and fullest potential. Perhaps that's strong, but looking at the circumstances now, nothing much has changed. This moment, that moment, makes me realize that everybody is hanging from the thread. We all are hanging from a thread, an invisible thread that nobody else can see but you. And at times, we also don't see the thread with our own eyes, even though it's around our necks. He may never be able to receive the help he needs for his mental state, for his psychological traumas as a child, every single day. I hurt for him. I hurt for me. I hurt for us. And I want you to know that you are worthy of a fair chance in this life and a second chance. Thank you. And you're not alone.
Two 2008 was an excellent year. It was a year that we took our family for Umrah to Mecca. And it was a time of intense family and family connection.
Hi,
welcome. Please come in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you. Good to see you.
It's lovely to see you.
In person.
Finally, right? Finally. All the time. So please take a seat. So this is my son Yusuf and my daughter Yasmin. This is a school photograph. So this is taken some time ago. This is when we went to Egypt. So you know how I was talking about the importance of traveling and seeing historical sites. We went and behind that you can see the pyramids. So that's my whole family and my mom. She came with us. So one of the things about this place is the fact that my father and mother went to this place. It's a time when you will fulfill a fifth of the fifth pillar of faith, which is going on pilgrimage. 2 years previously, I had gone to Hajj with my husband, and it had been an amazing experience for me. And so now it was time for me to go with my children. My son Yusuf was 11 years old, and my daughter Yasmin was 13. And I thought this was the time for them to get to know the sacred places of our faith.
Is this the prayer rug you were telling us about?
And when we pray, it reminds us of the place of Mecca. Now, I'll just explain to you a little bit about the Kaaba. The Kaaba is this cubed structure, and it's right in the center of the precinct. And it signifies the centrality of God and a house of worship. And right in the corner of the Kaaba, this cubed structure, is this thing called the Black Stone. And the Black Stone is something that has been actually put in place by the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. So I had explained all this to my son Yusuf, and he said, it'd be really cool to kiss the Black Stone. I said, yeah, of course, let's do it. And then we walked towards the place, and then I saw the crowd. It's like being in a kind of ocean. You're pulled one way, and then you're pulled another way, and you cannot really control which way you go. And I felt we were moving closer to this Black Stone. And Yusuf kind of looked at me and he said, Mom, you think we can kiss the Black Stone? And I looked at the crowd and I said, maybe another time, maybe the next time we come around. So, and I'm thinking, I'm having visions of him being trampled, and I'm saying, no, Yusuf, you have to wait. And I don't know if it was his expression, because he just looked so sad, or whether the policeman who was at that point, ushering people to go, he was right above the Black Stone, if he heard, I'm not sure. But the policeman came down from his little perch, and he pointed at me and he said, where are you from? And I said, we're from Connecticut. We're from America. And he kind of smiled and he went, give me your son. And he picked up Yusuf and he took him towards the Black Stone. And I was thinking, what about me? Can't you pick me up too? Right? So he takes him to the Black Stone, and of course, because he's with the policeman, the crowds, let him walk towards the Black Stone. He looks at it. I can see Yusuf looking at the Black Stone, putting his head in and kissing the Black Stone. And then there's this huge smile that he has on his face. And to really understand his smile, you have to really know Yusuf. Okay. So Yusuf is this kid, forever he's loved history. And he understood the significance of this stone, that it was actually placed by Abraham. How cool is that, right? And so he was just so excited by it. He has been interested in history all his life. And I can't help feeling that, taking my family to these places has instilled in him a love of history, but also, more importantly, I think, a love of God and a love of faith and an experience to be able to belong. And one of the things that I hope and pray that is when he is older and when he has children, that he will one day take his children and continue this legacy.
Imagine this, a young black immigrant man, Patrick Morrison, with a football in his hand, an American dream and a whole life planned. He says thanks to his mother. She made him stay out of trouble. Like, damn, it's no wonder she had dreams for his son. So much love for his name and her instinct to save. Black men who love their mothers, we say our ancestors' names. Ashe, and bless all the black women who pray. Because when he speaks and when he writes, the pen don't fight with them. Patrick tells his stories. It's like the blank page was meant for him. Words in print, he wrote the truth and meant it. And when they asked who built America, was it me and these hands, or was it the whiteness that lied when they stole all this land? Imagine this, Patrick Morrison, once I get it, I'm not letting it go. America should know my name by now. The story has been told. Patrick, go, go, go. Patrick, throw. Once I get it, I'm not letting it go. Hey, and once I get it, I'm not letting it go. Hey, 1965 in London, a young kid can make believe when he thinks about the American dream and he reclaims what that means. How ironic, he went to Columbus School, but whose side are you on when oppression don't love you? Hurt people, and auntie broke boundaries, but Patrick is not his trauma. Even when the pain is the truth, it's your own spirit that matters. The power and self-determination. It's not about fake founding fathers, so write it into creation. A young boy once said, I thought everyone in America was nice, but sometimes school kids are savage. Assimilation demands a price. He learned how to be different, learned how to be one kind of right, but the American dream don't shine at night. Tell him again, the American dream doesn't teach you what's right. Imagine this, Patrick Morrison, once I get it, I'm not letting it go. And once I get it, I'm not letting it go. America should know my name by now. The story has been told. Patrick, go, go, go. Once I get it, I'm not letting it go, go, go. So sometimes it only takes one single teacher, even though the Christians preach. His uncle prayed on his knees, but Patrick listened in the classroom. He took what he needed. Sometimes people see things in you that you cannot see in yourself. The faith of a mustard seed to raise up some hell and treat yourself well. The simple words that motivate, hit them before they hit you, and do not act from a place of hate. Even when trauma gives you an edge, on the field you give your best, and you pledge allegiance to your own pride. Patrick, go, go, go. Once I get it, I'm not letting it go. Watch him touch down, Patrick throws. He told the people, once I get it, I'm not letting it go. Hey, and once I get it, I'm not letting it go. From ancestors to legacy, the story has been told. Patrick throw, Patrick go, go, go. Once I get it, I'm not letting it go. My American dream is mine. Once I get it, I'm not letting it go. Hey, and once I get it, I'm not letting it go. Hey, Patrick Morrison claims his dream. Now watch him throw, Patrick go.
When I first came to America, I thought it would be easy. I thought we get a nice house, have all these things. I didn't understand that even if you're in America, you're gonna find the same thing. You needed to work to live. I needed to understand this whole entire new world. New language, new people, new everything. I was 12 years old when I first came to America. We spent 4 years in Jordan after we left Syria. I didn't speak English at all, no words. I used to say good morning when people came to visit me at night. When I went to school, it was really, really difficult. There were no Arabic speakers, only English. But after a month or two, I need to engage with people because inside of me, I can't live without knowing people. Every day, I need to learn 2 to 4 to 3 English words at least. In America, there's all kind of Americans, Spanish speakers, immigrants, like all kind of immigrants, Germany, from Iraq, from everywhere. Like when it was a party for my friends, everyone was like different. Even if you want to visit someone in Syria, it's really different than if you want to visit someone in America. If you want to visit someone in Syria, we just give you anything like coffee, or we just don't really ask you. If there is food, will we just give you food? I'm not really saying that we in Syria we treat people different. It's just different. Sometimes I need to figure out things on my own. But there's a lot of people who help me, like the church, Santa Thomas More. My dad went like a year without a job, and they helped him find one. This fall, I'm gonna be a junior, and I'm really excited. I'm not shy anymore. My goal is to become a doctor. I want to help the people who helped me to become a doctor. If anyone need my help from the church, I will help them with no money, with nothing. They help me to be someone with goals. For a classmate, I will help them with anything because they're the ones who helped me how to become one of them. They're the ones who made me believe that I can have friends again. So yes, I want to show all these people that it wasn't a waste of time taking care of me. Now I will stand next to them and help take care of them too.
My name is Ishar Ahmed. I am from Sudan. I came here almost 5 years ago. 2 years and a half ago, my beautiful son was born. I had him here in New Haven. One rainy day, something told me that it was time. I knew that I was going into labor. I could feel it. I went to the hospital. They told me I still need time and the baby isn't ready yet.
Rainy day, oh certainly. There you are. You're knocking at my door, trying to find a way home. Nothing can keep you down. You wanna be with Mama in my arms. I'm waiting for you. For you, always in a rush. Oh,
They told me just go home, and when you have blood or broke water, you can come back. I went for 3 times. They said the same thing, that I wasn't ready. But I knew better. I know my body. My friend Bani suggested I go to her house. So we went into her big house. We were there for less than 2 hours when my water broke in her house. We went to drive to the hospital for birth, but Bani couldn't find her key to her car. Kuti is his name, and he's doing well. Would you believe that?
Kuti.
I didn't speak a word that whole time. The only words I said was, "He's coming."
Journey to the US. We first arrived at JFK Airport in New York, United States. We were excited and tired after a long journey from Jordan. 15 Syrian families waited to find out where we were all going. We all wanted to know what state we were assigned to. Eventually, we were told that we would be assigned to Indiana. We were told that someone would meet with us soon to bring us there. An hour went by, then another hour, then another. I waited with my family for about 7 hours, exhausted, hungry, and holding my son. A man walked by and saw me wearing my hijab. He stopped and spoke with us. We told him that we have been waiting to find out when we'll be taken to Indiana. He tried to help us as much as he could. He translated for us. He asked the authorities many questions to explain that we are not going to Indiana. We were worried and very tired. They explained that we have been reassigned because the governor of Indiana is refusing to allow immigrants from Syria into the state. Then I felt weak, unsettled, and shocked. I did not expect that someone would violate my dignity once I put my foot in America, which known for its defense of human rights and dignities. So we were reassigned to Connecticut. We were finally going to our new home, New Haven. And something amazing happened. Governor Malloy and 6 or 7 men came and told us we were safe. Iris also helped us a lot. And over the next 20 days, we were set up in an apartment. So after this experience, I can tell you, after 4 years of living in New Haven, I am lucky to be in Connecticut, surrounded by the kind people I met in New Haven. I am now more happy, confident, and safe.
Bitmemiş bir şiirin hüznü dökülürken ıslak gözlerimden son gecenin sabahında yeni doğuşların ayak sesleri duyulur tedirgin yüreğimde. Artık ne rüzgarlar serser beni, ne hırçın dalgalar devirir. Cesaretim bir deli Ferhad olup delerken dağları, ümidim ürkek bir güvercin yüreğinden emanet. Adı gurbet. Bu ayrılıkla bir çentik atar yüreğime. Birkaç parça eşya, bir avuç hüzün. Yürek dolusu dostluklar kalır benden geriye. Yorgun ve mahzun. Hatıraları zapt edemezken zihin kafesi, eşyalarım sığ verir bavullara. Birkaç kutu yeter kitaplarıma ve ben savrulurum bir meçhule ki adı gurbet. Korkularım diken diken büyürken boşlukta, gönlüm takılı kalır ve ben yürürüm. Ne kırmızıdaki yangın, ne sapsarı hüzün, ben gurbet isimli bir yabancı diyarda büyürüm. İşte böylece yalnızlığın, hasretin, özlemin, sonu gelmez bekleyişlerin, beklenip de gelemeyişlerin, gelip de göremeyişlerin, görüp de diyeceğini diyemeyişlerin, acı söz lokmasını ikiye bölüşlerin bir ikinci adı olur gurbet. Kat.
Woo! Yay! Bravo, bravo.
Hey everyone.
Hi. Hey there. Hi,
You know,
everyone.
so I can see it big.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Yes, and so we'll give some of our artists a couple more moments to get onto the call, and then we'll get this talk back started. I'm so anxious to speak with you all. Awesome. Beautiful. So for any of our artists that are tuning in that want to join in on the talkback, feel free to just jump right in when the spirit moves you. We will get this talkback on the road. Hello, Long Wharf community, Long Wharf family. Thank you all for tuning in to our New Haven Play Project 2020, directed by the formidable, illustrious diva extraordinaire, Charisse M. Salem. Thank you, Charisse.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. And I would love for folks that we have some of our artists here. And Charisse, would you do the honor of introducing the artists we have on call?
Yes. So to my, I believe it would be your right, is Tabiza Rich. And then we have Aisha Koskun. I believe I'm saying it right, Aisha. I've never had to say her last name throughout the process. But we have Aisha. This is my girl Aisha, or / the General. That's her name.
General.
The General. And then we have Fjord Rodriguez down below.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I would love to, for folks who are tuning in, thank you so much for spending time with us. Feel free to drop any questions you have for the artists in the chat. Any love, any questions, any affirmations as we were watching them roll and scroll through on YouTube. That was a lot of fun. So thank you all for providing your energy as an audience, right, in this virtual space. And I would love to just start it off by asking Charisse, tell us a little about the inspiration that you had for this project in your own words.
Yeah. So when I first came on to the project, I knew that I wanted to somehow involve artists who do different things. Just, we have so much talent in New Haven. So I really wanted to tap into that and just see what creative ways we can tell these stories without it just being kind of like this two-dimensional thing. What else can we do? And so that's what really inspired me. And just the artists and the storytellers themselves inspired me once they, came into the picture. I would get new ideas as they would come up with things and share their stories.
Dope. And what's lovely is that we have a really beautiful balance of participants here. Our three storytellers. Aisha, we have as the storyteller and the performer. We have Tabiza, who is a storyteller in her own and the storyteller for Azar's piece. And then we have Fior, who is the artist, the actor who embodied Fatima's story. So I would love to talk to the three of you a little about the distinction and what connected you to your pieces and to this project. Aisha, I would love to start with you. We have two pieces. We have your story and then your poem, Gurbet.
Oh, you're
still on mute. Yeah. I love the virtual space.
Well, I mean, the story was actually my moving to the United States, and my hometown in the States is Houston, Texas, and I spent 7 years there, 7 beautiful years. And when it was time to leave and move to another city that is New Haven, it was heartbreaking. It was very sad, and it was actually the day I left Houston. Actually, I wrote this poem, and because to me it was moving on from one gurbet to another one. So I thought the story and then the poem would complement one another. So thank you for actually giving me opportunity to share this. Thank you.
Of course, it was a pleasure. And Tabisa, Aida, beautiful.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I was upstairs and I suddenly realized I had to go on here, so nice to join you all.
And Aida, for those who were just tuning in today and missed yesterday, Aida Mansour kicked off the New Haven Play Project with our Cultural Humility Workshop that she leads to give some context to the Muslim community and Islam and debunking some of the myths and preconceptions and stereotypes and really giving us the facts in our shared humanity, right? So welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun yesterday, and I have to say I really enjoyed it today. So
dope.
thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. So Tabisa, we're just asking the question for context is I want to know how you were introduced to this piece, what inspired you to tell your story. I'm going to kick it over to Tabisa while you get to ruminate on that question a little. And Tabisa, I'd love to know what inspired you to tell your story, and then what was your entry point to Azar's story and your inspiration to approach her work.
All right, thanks for that question. And also, I just want to say I'm very humbled and grateful to be in this space with all these amazing women and men, young and older. But I want to say thank you to Longwa for this, for making this opportunity happen for us and have a chance to have a platform to tell our stories from our perspective. So this my story, which I call Hanging by the Thread. It's funny because I sometimes would run into Cherise in different places, like at a performance, Midnight Noir, or at a cafe, or at Long Wharf. And every time I see her, we chat and celebrate each other as women who are in the arts. But one other thing I do is I start bombarding her with my stories. Out of context, I just go. I'm like, she's just here to get coffee, but now she's gonna leave with my story too, the side of my story. So I would. So when I got connected here to this point was that Cherise, because of that, knew of a story that I told her about, which was about my brother, and I've had these dreams of one day, finding a way and an outlet to tell my stories besides just singing, and which is going to theater. But I'm not a trained theater person. But to be in contact with people like Cherise would mean that I can learn how to be, present my stories in a way that can, be well articulated on stage. So when she called me to tell me that there was this opportunity, would I like to tell my story? I didn't think twice, you know, and I knew at the same time that was a very personal story to me, and I want to guard it, and I want to, you know, not just share it for the sake of sharing it. You know, stories like that are pretty much priceless, and they mean a lot to into our lives. So, but I figured that, you know, this is an opportunity that's bigger than just telling my story. It's an opportunity to, you know, let people know what young men deal with in the townships, in the hood, and the fact that suicide is a real thing, and the suicide is a thing that affects all of us, but then also it does affect our young Black and brown brothers and sisters, but nobody really talks about it more, because death within our community seems to be something that, you know, everybody's used to, and nobody really cares to know about our deaths, or what causes our deaths, whether it's by cops, or is it by suicide, or is it by there's just the system that really literally and figuratively kills these communities. So I figured telling the story would mean more than just talking about my brother, whom I found a day before we buried our grandfather, and which was a very stressful moment already, because I was burying, we were gonna put to rest a man that literally made me who I am today. And so my brother, because of his own mental illnesses, you know, which aren't necessarily always written in people's faces. People can still smile and still suffer from mental illness, and we don't talk about these things as well in the communities that I come from. And at the time, I didn't understand that could also be what affected him to decide to do that the way he did. Because he could never have anybody to talk to about these issues that he has as a young man growing up, developing into a man, and as well as feeling insignificant and not being able to handle things the way he wishes he could as a man. As you know, how we traditionally we always put so much on men, to do. So I feel like he had all these different factors in his life, and including the fact that he lost his parents literally when he was very young in a very horrific way, and he's never gone to therapy for that. Nobody has ever asked him how he feels about that really in 2 days still. So I feel like with me growing and understanding and informing myself and learning and being educated by different platforms, I realized that there's so much packed into his life and into this young man that I didn't even know then when I found him hanging and lifted him up to help elevate him so that he does not, choke to death. I realize now, I wish I could help more. I wish I knew better then to sort of direct him where he could be. But I cannot wish for things I could not do. But telling his story right now, I hope it brings that a sense of awareness and a sense of feeling that, anybody who's suffering from any of those things, we are here. We are listening. There's help for you there, And there are a lot of people like myself who are willing to tell stories and your struggles, and try to interpret them in the form of art, song, or any other way, or with series, put them on theater to just tell your story. So I would like to also say that if anybody is suffering from depression, mental illnesses, there shouldn't be a stigma around you. And I'm sorry if you experience that. There shouldn't be a stigma around you. In fact, all of us, I do believe we are dealing with a lot of mental issues. So please reach out and ask for help. Do not be ashamed. So that was my brother's story. And the reason why I decided to do that. That's what pushed me. But Cherise is the one who pulled me in. And then with Azra's piece, which was very interesting for me because I've never really done anything like that on spot on. I love a little bit of challenge, So I thought, okay, I'm going to say yes because it's still my year of yes, the second year of me accepting things that I've never tried before and seeing if I can do them without worrying about skills that I don't have for them or the language I cannot speak to express them, but trying to find ways that I can portray or interpret whatever I'm supposed to be doing. So I said, yes, I will do it. But I was thinking inside, what am I doing? Am I going to be able to do this? So I was able to, to learn how to use GarageBand. and I wanted to write her a song depicting what she was going through by using the sounds that I felt that represented what was going through when I was using the cellos and the violins and everything else. So in the song, it has a little bit, it's fun, but at the same time, there's a little bit of pain into it. I wanted you to be happy because she was giving birth. And even though her story she had to deal with a lot of hurdles because she couldn't go to hospital, and she went there and they told her, you're not ready, go back. And as a woman that she is, she could tell that she was ready, but then also she had to listen to the professionals that told her that she wasn't ready. So she went back home, and she might have possibly gone there 2 or 3 times, I'm not sure, but she did that. And then her friend, whose name is Bonnie, I believe, she took her in her house. I'm just retelling the story in case you missed it a little bit. But they took her home and to her house where she gave birth on a couch, and that couch was a couch that Bonnie's wife had died. So in the song that I wrote, I wanted to depict that feeling of sadness because somebody did die in that space, but at the same time she gave birth. So it was a cross of the light and darkness. And so I tried to put that together in that song, and with lyrics that also celebrated her life and her son, whose name was Kuti. So that's why I decided to work the song the way I did. So yeah, that's
beautiful. Yeah, it was really beautiful, and in particular, I think I remember one of our earlier conversations about the piece. We talked about her resilience, and we called it by name that. And Long Wharf is definitely in a year of embracing joy and resilience. So though she had all of these hurdles, and it sounds like a horror story and a nightmare to some people, that's not how she tells it, right?
No, she's very joyful. I kept on saying that to her when she was telling us, trying to give us feedback about the story and how I could also have ideas how to write it. And I was thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be sad.
Yeah.
This is going to be sad. And then the whole time she's smiling, she's happy. And I'm like, maybe it's not so sad anymore because she's resilient, and she's like, she's just joyful about the whole experience. It didn't bother her. It didn't pull her down. And the fact that she says she didn't even cry at all the whole time. She kept quiet because all she was thinking about that at the end of the day, she is going to give birth, and she needs, because her friend told her that she needs to think of how happy her son will be, the smile on her child's face, or when she sees her child's face, she's going to be very happy. So I feel very honored, and thank you for allowing me to tell her story, because it's such a wonderful experience and to get into someone else's shoes. So I really appreciate this.
Thank you. And then Fior, something that's really interesting and that I love most about this project, something that was really important to Charisse as well, is that we paired our folks of the Muslim community and our folks and our storytellers that identify as immigrant and identify as refugees, and we pair them with members of the community that may or may not identify with that same experience, or to pair Muslims and non-Muslims together and really find our shared humanity and really find our, what makes us New Havenites, what makes us people that are here in this shared space. Oops. But Fior, and that's true to you as well. Can you talk about being paired with Fatima's story as someone who doesn't identify as Muslim and the journey that you went to educate yourself to prepare for this role?
Yeah, sure. First of all, hi guys. And also to Bisa, the year of yes, girl, I'm here for it. I love that. I might start my year of yes today. But to answer your question, Cheyenne, I'm not Muslim, and I obviously don't have a journey story of coming from Syria and those kind of troubles and assimilating to American culture, but I do have parallels in my story that relate to her story, and I think that's kind of part of why I was matched with Fatima for her story. I am an immigrant. I was born in the Dominican Republic, and I was born in the Dominican Republic. I did a brief stint in Russia when I was really small, and then I came to the United States. But I was still very young, so I assimilated. It was a little rocky at first. A lot of languages being thrown around me, so I wasn't really sure what people wanted from me, what language I was supposed to speak. But lucky for me, having been a Hispanic immigrant, and I moved to Miami, Florida, where I was surrounded with that population, it was pretty easy for me to assimilate to American culture, and I took to it very quickly. Learned English in kids, they pick it up super fast. I was speaking fluent English by 2nd, 3rd grade. But then again, I moved after high school to Connecticut, and that was a whole big traumatic life change that I had to kind of adapt to. So while I don't have the exact struggle that Fatima had, I can definitely relate to her story, and I was just trying to channel all of those feelings of being the outsider and being new and not knowing the language and not knowing the customs. I just tried to channel all of that into my piece, and her story is just incredible. Her strength is amazing. She has these beautiful kids, and she loves it here now, and she has really settled into her new life here. And it's obviously, you know, the reason she came here was for a better life, and the reason my parents brought me here was for similar reasons. They just wanted a better life for me, and I think they made a good choice.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Reminders to folks who are tuning in that feel free, if you have any questions, comments, please drop those in the chat. And Aida, it's such a pleasure and a joy to have you on the call and have you a part of this project. If you can talk a little more about your entry into choosing this story for the New Haven Play Project, and feel free to mention more about the Muslim Coalition of Connecticut.
Sure. It was a pleasure to be with you all. And just before I start, I'd like to ask Fiora about her experience. I remember you saying, you know, she had to go and find the clothing to wear. And how was that for you? Or how did you find that in terms of the headscarf and those kinds of things?
I gotta say, I can't take too much credit. Maddie Ardito and Cherise and them, they kind of did all the work. Maddie just showed up at my apartment one day with the outfit. I Googled YouTube videos on how to, you know, put it on.
Yeah, it looked totally spot on.
Great.
You know, yeah.
I didn't know there were so many ways to put one on. I just picked the simplest one. I was like, you know what? This is good.
Yeah, it looked great. And that story, actually, I remember when that actually happened. When they were, you know, when they went to Indiana, and they were blocked from going into Indiana. And I was so proud to be from Connecticut, and that Connecticut would take this family in. That was an awesome thing for the governor to step up and do that. So I'm from the Muslim Coalition of Connecticut, and one of the things we really focus on is outreach. And so I had come and done a presentation at Long Wharf. And in the process of doing the presentation, I spoke a little bit about my experience going to Mecca. And you know, there is humor in the story, I have to say. But Cherise was saying, you know, why don't you tell this story? So I was, oh, okay, that sounds good. And it's, you know, since that time, actually before that, I always thought about the power of a story. You know, these personal stories are so powerful. So we have the Speakers Bureau. We go out and we you know, sort of talk about Islam and Muslims. But it's the personal stories that people really remember. You know, we can say lots of facts till we're blue in the face, but it's really these powerful stories, like Aisha's story. I mean, I'll never forget that. You know, she did such an excellent job telling it, and it really brought me back to the time of 9/11 and how, you know, we were in one world, and post 9/11 it was a completely different world. She actually brought that, you know, sort of feeling to me again. 9/11 was one of the reasons why the Muslim Coalition of Connecticut began, because people were asking, you know, what is this religion, you know, that's associated with this horrible act? And there was a lot of misinformation. So there was a great need for Muslims to represent who they were. And so we were able to do that, you know, through the Muslim Coalition of Connecticut, which was a great joy. So that's basically, you know, sort of thank you, Cherise, for all your support and inviting us to do this. You guys, all of you guys are so awesome. Shane was like sort of supporting me through the whole thing. And the other thing is, I have to say, I've never done this kind of thing before. I'm not a natural, you know, certainly, you know, when I may have acted in kindergarten, but that's about it. But this is such this is such a great experience, and you guys were so supportive of the experience. And plus, we had COVID on top of that, so you guys are awesome. So thank you all for your support, and I really appreciate it.
I'm happy you mentioned that too, because something that's important to know is that we had to, obviously, from the film, we were in you all's locations. You know, we had to travel to the artists and our storytellers in the middle of a pandemic. So does anyone, even Sharice, does anyone want to jump in and talk about the logistics of that? What was it like to have this team? There were on average 3 of us, but sometimes 4 of us that arrived either at someone's house, or we met in the park, or we met, somewhere out in public, mostly at folks' yards and parks. Does anyone want to chime in on what was that experience like with trying to social distance while creating this work?
I'll say that it definitely, while it was a challenge, it was a cool challenge. It's like, okay, we're already challenged with the fact that one, we started off with this idea of being on stage. That was it. We were gonna have stories performed on stage. They were gonna be vignettes, and then boom, here we are. COVID hits. Now, how do we reimagine? Right, that's our word of the year. Reimagine this being on film, and so the locations were picked very specifically with the idea of social distancing in mind and being outside, yet still being super true to the story and making everything look pretty and interesting and, just highlighting it as much as possible. So especially with Fior and Fatima's piece, I had an idea in mind, but I knew when I got there, then more ideas would start to flow, being in the space, being with the artist. And so that's exactly what happened. So you'll see there's these little close-up shots of the stop signs, and you see New Haven Green on the bench, and then some little twirly things that we did around. Travis is really, really flexible with me because I was like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I see this, so there was a lot of improv-y stuff going on. But I feel like while yes, it was a challenge, at the same time, it was a fun challenge.
It was COVID or not, it was amazing. I loved it from beginning to end because first of all, this was the first time I did something like that. I keep telling stories constantly, but but the best part was when you guys were coming, I'm like, okay, I'm Turkish. What do? I chat with people constantly and I feed them. So how do I feed them? So what are the alternatives? So there was I consulted with my Turkish friends here, and then we came up with a menu. So we were so ready, if you are to eat in my apartment, I was ready for that. If you want to go out down to the park, I was ready on that. So I had all those plastic plates and forks and the aluminum foil containers and everything. But you know what, again, the COVID or not, you guys were amazing. I was just so humbled with your patience, with your understanding, and with your care. It was an amazing experience, and I truly humbled, and I'm so honored to be part of this project. Thank you, Shiraz, and thank you, Cheyenne, and everyone. I know so many people were involved in this, and truly,
I just have to do a shout out for your coffee. Aisha, the best coffee. Let me tell you, I was wired the rest of the day. I was good to go.
And it was so dope. Shout out to Travis and Mike, the team that were there with us as well. Because as soon as we were getting ready to shoot, we shot a couple B-roll and some things, and then Aisha said, "So are we eating now?" And she just laid out this spread, and we were like, "What is Turkish hospitality? We're here for it." And Aisha even joked that we were like, maybe why don't we just all show up at Aisha's house and be like, can we watch the film with you?
Viewing party.
Beautiful.
I thought of that. Actually, I swear to God, I thought of that. I said, well, we should just eat 6 feet distance and, watch it together.
We can do a rerun. We can do a rerun because I feel like I've missed out. I did see some of the pictures and I thought, what is happening? We didn't get an invite. This is fist, you know. But I wanted to just add a little bit to what everybody said, that also with Long Wharf Theater and the rest of the theater companies, really, it's like when you involve the community, magic happens, you know, and you are not only just the magic, but also you are literally building a community of people around you, and you become the bridge of understanding and shaping people's perspectives once you involve, diverse artists and with different stories and different art forms and all of that. So I want to just encourage that it be not the end, and that they'd rather be the example to show how other theaters, how it's done, because all these stories are colorful, all the stories are wonderful, and our children need to see us portray what our lives are and what they've been and what they can be, instead of the one-minded or narrowness of how we should live our lives. Because we are complex beings, and we lead complex lives. And for me, I want to say just to Ida too, when I watched your presentation last night, I swear I felt ridiculous. I felt ridiculous for many reasons, because I realized how ignorant I am, and when it comes to the Muslim culture and Muslim people and what Islam. I couldn't tell the difference between Islam and Muslim. I just mixed my words. And with your workshop, I learned so much, and I still need to watch your slides again to learn again. I think it's a class that every American should have, because after everything that we have been taught about Muslims, that they are terrorists, which we all know it's not true. And people need to start learning to unlearn and actually be interested in movies, Muslim movies, watch sitcoms, read those subtitles, do whatever it needs to take to see the music communities as actual human beings. Because people sometimes they get intimidated because they don't understand what you wear on your head, why you wear the clothes you wear, and they think it's not my thing. But it's people. It's people, and they live their lives as how they see fit, just like we do as well. So I feel like your workshop was very important. Shouldn't be the end of it. I learned so much, and I was also embarrassed. And now I've told myself that I am going to learn so much more from now on, and so that I can really understand when I talk about the Muslim community, I talk of people, and I talk from a place of being informed rather than what I assume. It is what it is that is Muslim. So thank you for that presentation. And yeah, kudos to Long Wharf and everybody in the team. And Cherise, you were my pillar, because I would go back to you to get a little bit of a push to do what I needed to do. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Thabisa. Thank you for that reflection. And I feel like we all have things that we need to learn about each other, right? We all have things. And if we can just be honest about, what, I learned something new, and thank you for debunking my own ignorance. Imagine how powerfully we would grow as humans if everyone had the courage to just claim that and be grateful, right? And so on that note, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for taking their time, for spending their evening with us at Long Wharf. Thank you, Cherise and Thabisa and Aida and Aisha and Fior, for joining us for this talk back, and all the folks that have stuck around in the comments throwing love. And Long Wharf's not finished yet. This is the kickoff. You ain't seen nothing yet. We are looking forward to continuing to grow and engage our community. Our One City, Many Stages approach to theater is really going to leave room for emergent creating and also theater that may not be that traditional proscenium, come into the theater, lights up, lights down. COVID's not allowing that, so we're embracing the change at Long Wharf. So please, if you don't already, subscribe to our channel, add us on Facebook and Instagram, and join our mailing list on our website. But stay tuned. We have some really cool things coming up. We look forward to having more conversations like this in the virtual space, and hopefully soon in person. So thank you all, and have a blessed evening.
Thank you. And if I could, I just want to say thank you all to the artists and to the storytellers for allowing us into your world and for letting us experience your amazingness. I learned so much by working with you, and I'm just so inspired. While this was a tough year because of COVID, it turned out to be an amazing project and an amazing year for me. A lot of growth. And I just really, really appreciate you all. And also the team at Long Wharf. Cheyenne, you and your beautiful spirit and your energy, which you bring every time. And I just want to make sure I say this. Cheyenne co-directed Z's piece. these pieces. So I just want to make sure I let you know, because she did a wonderful job with that. We had to kind of do that from a distance, and so that worked out beautifully. And
Got your back, Queen.
Yeah, you have my back the whole way, and I appreciate you. And Maddie.
And Maddie Arguito.
Gotta shout out Maddie. Maddie is a rock. She was my rock in this process. So really, really appreciate you and everybody else on the team. Travis, Hope, Jacob, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the shout outs. Thank you, Charisse. Wonderful. Thanks for folks in the chat. Have a beautiful night. Thank you so much. Be blessed.